Oh, yeah, we're doing this, so. The last time I did one of these, on Prism, let's just say it didn't go as planned. And I had to delete the whole thing, so. Hopefully today will be different, but there's no guarantee. I'm also trying the new PG thing, but there's no guarantee, so. I was also doing art before this, so. Let me try to put this way real quick. Minutes. Here we be. Oh, and today is also the day I'm testing out my brand new Android keyboard, so that'd be cool. This is going to be like a test stream, if you will. So, this is going to be like a test stream. My tripod will not stay on. Okay. There we go. So, so yay. So, so, let me see if anything's checked out. Audio. Yep, there we go. App audio. We'll see once we get there. Let's just test it out with, this real quick.
The Nevada Historical Society is taking Nevada history on the go. Discover the fascinating, unexpected stories of our state. Click to find events near you.
So, the King of Hell is finally coming here. What bullshittery can I start today? Charlie!
Dad, what?
Oh, it's hung o'clock! Alright, gotta observe.
Hopefully you guys can hear that, but if you can't, then I'm gonna have to fix that, but hopefully you guys can hear that. So today we're listening to the lore of Poppy Playtime. This is going to be a long stream. And this is not even the full 5 chapters, this is just 3 chapters literally, so let's get started.
Here we go on to gain the
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, it's like literally, what time is it? 2 a.m. So 2 a.m. So yeah, I have to be quiet. Sorry. Excuse me again. Okay, yeah.
The complete timeline of the Poppy Playtime series. This will be including events that were alluded to prior to the chapters themselves, and also content shown on the Mob Entertainment YouTube channel. I will be showing the events shown chronologically, while also giving a play-by-play of the events that occur within the first 4 chapters released thus far. Please keep in mind that the full story of Poppy Playtime is not yet released, so new things will likely be added as future chapters come out. Let's get into it.
Let's see if I can find a more recent timeline, actually. Now that I think about it, the more that I think about it, the more that... Yep.
Welcome to the complete timeline of the Poppy Playtime
Here
series.
we go. There we go.
Including events that were alluded to prior to the chapters themselves, and also content
There we
shown
go.
on the Mob Entertainment YouTube channel. I will be showing the events shown chronologically, while also giving a play-by-play of the events that occur within the 5 chapters released thus far. Please keep in mind that the full story of Poppy Playtime is not yet released, so new things will likely be added as future chapters come out. Let's get into it. An aspiring young inventor by the name of Elliot Ludwig founded a toy-making company focused on creating great products for children to enjoy and keeping parents all around the United States happy. Playtime Corporation, or better known as Playtime Co., soon became the biggest and most successful toy manufacturing company in the world. 1930 would also mark the creation of a construction company, Warren Bach Construction by Darwin Silver. They would go on to help build much of the facility for Playtime Co. in the coming years.
We're just going Warren
March
Bach.
1946, future Playtime employee Edward Ritterman is born. Playtime Corporation took the world by storm due to its innovative toys.
Oh, and this is also a good time to note that this video isn't mine. It's by Green Links YT. Go subscribe to them. They are a very reliable source when it comes to the Poppy Playtime timelines, and please watch the video yourself if you haven't. He's a very good content creator. In fact, I just subscribed to him right now so I wouldn't lose all the timelines. So, yeah. Subscribe to them. Please, subscribe to them.
It was in the 50s that Elliot would create a doll, inspired by his daughter Poppy Ludwig. He would call the special doll Poppy Playtime. The doll had a special ability to hold a full conversation with a child, a truly remarkable feat. You aren't just purchasing a toy for your child, you're giving them a friend that they can actually speak to, and it speaks back. It helps.
Not gonna lie. I would actually kill for that. Not gonna lie. I would actually like that. It's kind of from someone who is virtual school and doesn't really have any friends outside of school other than my 2 friends that I play with on Roblox. This is a very good tool for me, honestly. Give me a friend.
Some relationship building, something that you simply couldn't get with any other child's toy.
Mm-hmm.
The doll would prove so successful that it would hold the position as the company's most popular toy for 34 consecutive years. It's really no surprise that Playtime Co. found the success that they eventually did. Playtime Co. has many different employees, all of which joined the company at different times. But we know that one employee, named Thomas Clark, would join Playtime Co. in 1955, working as a pediatrician for the children that resided within the place Playtime Co. named Playcare. In the late 1950s, a brand new toy was introduced to the public by Playtime Co., Doughy Doe. It would be the second major commercial hit for the company, and would be revamped every decade there on out. Plus, you could get the added bonus of morphing Doughy the Dough Man into whatever your imagination could think of. The 60s proved to be a critical turning point for Playtime Corporation. After the huge success of Poppy Playtime for the past decade, it was time for Playtime to expand even further. Elliot dedicated himself once again to creating special toys, and before long, Playtime created the Make-A-Friend machine. It had the ability to autonomously create toys without outside intervention. This creation of a Make-A-Friend machine was just a glimpse of Elliot Ludwig's incredible ingenuity and would prove invaluable for Playtime. Jimmy Roth would become the chief marketing officer for the company, responsible for promoting the company's new toys to families around the country, while Pierre would be the head of innovation, a high position in the Playtime chain of command. With the pursuit to create the next Poppy Playtime, the toy of Bron was created, using the fact that dinosaurs were incredibly popular in the 1960s.
Yes, they actually were, in fact.
Brontosaurus being the most popular of choices. Playtime would make the small red dinosaur. Unfortunately, Bron wouldn't have the commercial success that Poppy did, and would prove its usefulness.
I would still buy the Brawn, though. I would still buy Brawn. Not gonna lie, I would still buy Brawn.
Decades later. Get a look at this guy. This is Boxy Boo.
Again, I would also love this. I would also love this. I'm gonna be so for real. I would love this. I would genuinely love this.
A toy created 5 years after the creation of Bron, based around a Jack-in-the-Box that could spring out from the top and sides. Unfortunately, Boxy Boo was also a bit of a commercial failure, not selling nearly as much as Poppy, or Bron for that matter. While not dated, we do know that it's during this rough period of time that Elliot Ludwig founded the Young Geniuses program for Playtime Co. The purpose of the program was to gather as many intelligent children as Playtime could and have them solve impossible questions. Once a child was accepted, they would be sent a letter from Elliot Ludwig congratulating them on their acceptance into the program, where they would be joined by their colleagues at Playtime to create something incredible for the future. One of these children that participated within the Young Geniuses program was a young boy named Harley Sawyer. We can see written about Harley, presumably by Elliot. It talks about Sawyer's lack of friendships and how serious he is about everything regarding his work. He sees a drive that he has never seen before, and he is incredibly intelligent.
Not gonna lie, I can relate to Harley when it comes about being serious about anything, really. I am very passionate about a lot of stuff, actually. I'm very passionate. But I'm also very serious. Of course, I don't I love humanity. In fact, I think there should be humanity in everyone, but sadly, that's not how the world works. Some people are just born without humanity, or just don't have humanity, rather from an experience in their lives, or just not at all. So, I do have humanity, trust me. I believe in humanity quite a lot. In fact, I did believe in Elliot's dream and becoming a playcare, and everyone's missing a smile. I feel like Elliot would have loved me. I feel like. Of course, I'm a little bit biased because it's me, but I feel like Elliot would have been, I feel like I would have been that child that Elliot would love. I am very outside the box thinking. Literally, before the stream, I literally was drawing with random shapes. Like, I put, like, random stuff together to make something amazing. I'll show you after the, stream, but I'll show you after we watch the timeline, but I feel like Elliot will love me, because I have humanity, I love friendship, I don't talk much, but I do love friendship. I'm basically all the qualities Elliot would want in a child. Child. Know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Boot. Sawyer is the embodiment of what Elliot was looking for when he created the program.
Sawyer is very intelligent, like very, very intelligent. How is he that intelligent? I don't know. Maybe he was born with it. Maybe he just studied in school. For God knows how long. I don't know how he's that intelligent. Like, I don't know how his brain is big. I don't know how his brain is, like, bigger than the goddamn sun. But okay, that was a joke, mostly. But you get the point. I'm trying to see, didn't look like... He's basically the 1990s Einstein. That's what I'm trying to say. He might as well be Einstein. I'm joking, obviously, but you get the point. That would be something I would actually give him.
Another interesting point noted is that Sawyer almost never smiles. However,
Yeah.
the few times that Elliot has noticed him smile is when he's working on an invention or an experiment with Elliot.
Not gonna lie, I would also smile at that. I am a very creative individual when it comes to art. Like, I do not let scripts decide my own way. Literally, if you look in all my videos, I literally say my mind. It's never scripted. Because one, I can't write crap. I cannot write. It's just, it's a mess. I cannot write. And two, I don't like being controlled from a script. I don't like being controlled. I don't like being controlled from that. I don't let scripts decide my way. I don't. Well, my way is my way. I take the way I want to.
Elliot has tried to get to know the young man better, but he doesn't give away much, saying that he clearly doesn't think much of his home life, by the way in which he speaks about it, saying that he feels sorry for Sawyer. But Sawyer told Elliot that being here with him, doing the things that they're doing, is all that he ever wanted.
This might be a stretch, but I did think Sawyer would have had humanity. Honestly, some people find humanity in different ways. And the way I find humanity is just thinking about the good things about humanity. Thinking about the partnerships, the love, the cherish, everything about humanity. The life that some Lord, I'm not religious, that's what I'm saying, some Lord gave us the ability to love, to cherish, to give love overall. It's amazing. That feeling of humanity, it's amazing. And some Lord up there, I don't believe in God, especially I don't believe in that God where he created everything. If he did, he created a fucked up planet, I'm just saying, but, joking overall, but, It's amazing. He gave us that ability. Some lord up there gave us some humanity. And some people just never use it. You were always given humanity. You just have to choose to use it. You're the one who makes you a monster. The others don't make you monsters. It's you who chooses who you want to be. Playtime Co. chose their path. They decided to be monsters. They chose that. They didn't have to, but they chose that. You don't have to choose that. You choose who you want to be. Good or not. You choose who you want to be. And you have to make the right decision. You choose who you want to be.
Elliot expresses his admiration for the boy, saying that he wants to keep him around, considering him something special, and if he's correct, he could be the one to lead science into the future. It's hard to know exactly how long passes between the notes, but we know that at some point, Elliot Ludwig actually removes Harley Sawyer from the Young Geniuses
That
program.
does make sense.
Despite how much it pains Elliot,
As much as it does pain me to even admit, Harley Sawyer would have been off probably somewhere else. I think he would not have been good with a literal toy company and / orphanage. I don't think he would have been good with that. As much as it pains me to admit it, Harley Sawyer definitely would have not been good with children. He never smiled, we know that. And he most certainly, we all know what happened during the children, but we'll get into that later. We all know what happened during children. We all know what happened when he was near the children, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, he was a very good boy. And it pains me to admit that he would have been better somewhere else. He would have been better, or if he wanted to continue at the company, he would have had to work on his humanity. But if he didn't want to, then he would have been off. He would probably been good somewhere else. Hates me to admit it, but it's true. He would have been better off somewhere else. Harley Sawyer would have been better off somewhere else. That's what I'm trying to say. He is a very smart and talented kid, and I know there was some humanity somewhere. I'm not naive. He's done horrible, horrible things. And I'm not forgiving him for that. I never forgive pure evil. There's no undoing what Playtime Co. has done. They've made their choice. And I do believe the hour of joy was for the better, actually. The experiments did bad for the greater good. It had to stop. The experiments, the torture, the abuse, the manipulation, it had to stop. It had to stop. I'm sorry, but it's true. It had to stop. And if the hour of joy was the only way of doing that, then so be it.
and how he doesn't want to discourage or hurt Sawyer, saying that his mind is brilliant, probably the most brilliant that he's ever known, in fact, reinstating that working with Sawyer has been one of the most rewarding experiences of his lifetime. But despite this, he cannot continue to lie to himself or hide a very glaring flaw in Sawyer. His lack of humility. He states how science should serve humanity, and that progress for the sake of progress does more harm than good. And throughout Sawyer's time in the program, Elliot has tried to temper his humility much like he had to do with himself in his youth, but it only incites anger in Sawyer, saying that Sawyer lashed out at Elliot in the evening and stormed out of the lab, telling Elliot not to be soft and how progress doesn't care about how anybody feels about it. This way of thinking scared Elliot, and he was lost in finding a way to convince Sawyer of the alternative. He began reflecting on his own youth, where even he himself had a similar outlook as Sawyer does, saying that the one thing that changed him and gave him a new perspective of things.
I will admit, at one point, I was kind of like Elliot. I did not believe in humanity. I was like Harley, but I did smile. Like, I at least had a little bit faith in humanity, but not always. There were times where I had little to no faith in humanity. There are times that I had little to no faith in humanity. Like, at all. Especially in Reno, where lots of bad stuff happened. I'm not going to name it here, but if you live in Reno right now, then you'll probably understand. A lot of bad stuff happens here, and it's hard to believe in the humanity, in the good, when a lot of bad stuff does happen. But all we can do is hope for a better future, and hold on to that faith in humanity. That's all we can do. Yes, that's all we can do.
Was seeing the world and people bouncing back from rejection and hardship through connection, saying that rejection can sometimes be the best thing for us. It reminds us why actions matter and who they're for. It made him a better person.
Yes, that is in fact true. Elliot's true. What Elliot is in fact saying is true. I've had many rejections in my life, and rejection was basically the best thing for me. It gave me a new side of things. How much the world can be cruel, but at the same time, give some benefit. Sometimes you have to go through rejection to see a new perspective. Sometimes you have to go through the hard part and then see the good. It was for my own benefit. And right now, it gives me hope. Elliot did give me hope. I do hope to fill his legacy of creating and giving humanity. I feel like Elliot would have loved me for lots of reasons. If I was a genius, say, and I entered the Young Geniuses program and I actually had humanity, basically a better version of Harley Sawyer, I feel like Elliot would have adored me. Elliot would have loved me. Because I was everything he ever wanted. A child, let alone a kid like me. I believed in humanity. I believed in his dream, most importantly. I did actually believe in his dream. I would admire Elliot. I will admit, I would have admired Elliot. I would have admired him. I would think of him as like a father. A father that I never had. A father that I never had. I wish I would have admired Elliot. True, I would have admired him. Like a father. I would have treated him like my father. And I love him. There's a lot of shows and stuff like that where this character gives out father vibes, and I would love them as my father, and that's true. Seeing these characters act so fatherly to these kids or adult children. And the reason I say adult children, because sometimes those shows do star adults. Frankly, it's great. Sometimes shows actually give me faith in humanity. And that's probably the best way. For someone who doesn't really get out much to see the real world, shows that people struggle with humanity and disorders and still to find their own place, but find their way towards the end, that gives me humanity. There are multiple ways to find humanity. Elliot's way or my way. You make your own way towards humanity. It doesn't have to be mine or Elliot's. You can make your own way towards humanity.
As such, he hopes that by removing Sawyer from the Young Geniuses program will make him better too. He finishes the letter by challenging Sawyer to head for home and to look at the people around him, try to look for a new perspective, and to better know why progress actually matters, hoping.
But sometimes home doesn't feel like home at all. And I may have a bit of a dark theory that Sawyer didn't feel like home. Maybe because he was, abused. Maybe he was looked down upon. Maybe he was, taken as a joke. Who knows? But I'm not making assumptions, because all I'm saying is sometimes home doesn't feel like home at all. If a kid doesn't talk about their hometown or home at all, there's a 80% chance that there's probably a 9 out of a 10 chance that home for them doesn't feel like home at all. And maybe for Sawyer, Elliot might have been the only home he actually felt like home Sawyer ever had. And now now saying it to you guys and myself, I want to look a little more about Sawyer, actually. I'm not saying that he's done horrible things, and I know this doesn't excuse pure evil. The scientists, everyone at Playtime goes done horrible things. I'm not excusing pure evil. Backstory doesn't matter. He chose what he did. But all I'm saying is there has to be a reason, some form of reason to do why he did, other than just being rejected. There has to be some level of reason. But I know it doesn't excuse the things that Playtime Code did. They chose their path and they stick to it. And they stuck to it. They had multiple chances to change their ways, but they didn't. So they had to live with the consequences.
One day he will understand.
Which was the hour of joy.
And perhaps even thank Elliot. The response to this letter from Elliot didn't go down.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I was actually expecting this. Not gonna lie. I'm not justifying what Sawyer did at Playtime Co., but I want to look a bit more deeper to this. He tore up the letter. It looks like he cried. The last time I checked, Sawyer doesn't cry, for what we heard in the game. Or Playtime Co., in fact. Sawyer doesn't cry. So, we know, if he actually cried, this must have hurt. And there has to be a different reason for that. And like I said, if we're going with the theory that Elliot was the only real home Sawyer actually had, that would hurt me too, not gonna lie. Seeing my own adopted, basically father figure reject me, it would hurt me. It would break my heart. I would tear it up too. It would genuinely hurt me. It would genuinely hurt me. Knowing that my home, my real home, doesn't even feel like home, and the only real home I actually had got stripped away from me, it would hurt me too. It would genuinely hurt me. I would actually hurt. This would genuinely hurt me.
Well, with Sawyer, as we can see writing on torn pieces of paper, it mentions how Elliot took everything, and how Sawyer thought Ludwig actually cared, but it turns out nobody cares. Nobody understands him, stating that Elliot Ludwig is a soft, pathetic, small-minded backstabber, and nothing more. It even appears by the smudges of the paper that Sawyer was actually crying when writing these notes, clearly affected by what he felt was a deep betrayal by Elliot. Again, while not specifically dated, it is roughly around this time that Elliot Ludwig would lose a loved one, very likely being his daughter, Poppy Ludwig. Elliot would begin experimenting on dead rats, notably seen with the earliest numbered experiment, 814, with the belief that poppy flowers held life-altering properties and revival could be possible using them. While experiment 814 would fail, we know that the purpose of these experiments were...
Okay, in a little while, we're probably going to shift our focus to, Sonic Speed Simulator. Then we're going to return that and then do it again. I need something to stimulate my brain, right? If we actually stay here, then yeah, I'm not going to get stimulated. So, for the neurodivergent folks, and for overall, we need some stimulation. So, we're probably in, if by the probably 13-minute mark, we'll probably go to Sonic Speed Simulator next, or Roblox. Just for probably, at most 15 minutes. 15 minutes? So, yeah. 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 By the 13-minute mark of this video, we'll probably go to Sonic Speed Simulator in Roblox and stimulate our brains again. Stimulate our brains again. Because I know it's going to be a lot, so let's keep watching.
Elliot Ludwig's attempts to revive his deceased daughter, Poppy Ludwig. There is no confirmed date for the creation of experiments 1006 and 1007, but they are believed to have been created between the 1960s and the 1980s, so for that purpose, I'll mention them here. After numerous failed attempts at using poppy flowers to revive organic tissue, a breakthrough would occur with the creation of experiment 1006, later known as the prototype. This would mark the first successful experiment, mixing both organic and mechanical components to create a new life from an old one. It's also quite interesting, since 1006 is the only known experiment that doesn't require any kind of food or water for survival. Playtime would recognize 1006 as a prime example for the type of vessel of which they are trying to create. We also know that 1006 was created from a child named Oliver, who shares a close bond with Playtime creator Elliot Ludwig. It is presumed that Oliver was possibly an adopted son, given a conversation between the two briefly after Oliver was turned into the prototype, with Ludwig referring to him as his boy. Oliver initially believed that Ludwig was trying to help him go to a better place, but would later realize that he was simply being used as a test, or prototype, for Elliot Ludwig's greater plan, to bring his dead daughter back to life. This would infuriate Oliver, who would eventually take on the prototype as his name, but he was assured by Elliot Ludwig that he and his daughter Poppy would get along, and once he successfully brought her back, they could all live as a family together. We know not long after this that Elliot Ludwig would be successful in his attempts to revive Poppy Ludwig, revived in the body of the toy that was inspired by her. This would be experiment 1007, Poppy Playtime. Near the end of the 60s, Eddie Riddiman would be hired Playtime in the role of the head of research. Thanks
back
to
to
a
the-
wildlife conservation
Sorry, guys, I'm
campaign,
moving my,
Playtime Co. released yet another toy to their
I'm
line in the
moving my
1970s, this time being Yarn.
phone.
He would go on to have multiple
Close
releases
charger
as
so I
the
can
years went
plug it
on.
in. There we go.
Unfortunately, no creation date is mentioned,
There
but
we
we
go.
do know that
Yeah,
another
there we go.
toy was released around this time called Pianosaurus. He was actually a part of a toy line that featured an entire
Justice for Pianosaurus, guys. Justice for Pianosaurus. You didn't live long, buddy, but we love you. Justice for Pianosaurus. Hashtag Justice for Pianosaurus.
band. But again, unfortunately, we still have not seen the other band members as part of the band. But Pianosaurus did get his own commercial, targeted towards music-loving kids. In 1972,
I would've bought it.
Playtime Co. signed an 18-year
I love music. I would have bought this. I would have bought Pianosaurus. Hell, I would have bought the whole band. As someone who has a loving, cherishing heart for music, yes, I am technically a band kid, okay? I am a band kid. Yeah, you can consider me a band kid. I would love this. I would genuinely love this toy. Take my money, Playtime Co. I would have said that, like, genuinely, take my money. Give me the whole band. Take my money. Take my money. I don't care. Just take it.
Sarah Warren Bach.
Do whatever with it. I don't care. As long as you give me the band.
Create anything the Playtime needed in relation to their Playtime facility. This
Okay.
would be overseen by Elliot Ludwig. In 1976, Playtime created their most ambitious creation yet, Playcare, an orphanage
Playcare.
created below the Playtime facility that was founded by Elliot Ludwig to house orphans. Whilst it was meant to care, teach, and help the orphans, it was secretly used as housing for future test subjects, used by Playtime for their experiments. To hide this fact, Playtime would actually interview certain orphans to potential adopters, seemingly allowing some of these children to actually go through a proper adoption process. However, the children that either couldn't get adopted or showed promising results from the game station would be chosen to participate in the Bigger Bodies initiative. This is something that we'll touch on more extensively shortly. Something that we'll touch on more extensively shortly. In 1979, the toy Candy Cat was
I'm gonna
At this
install
point,
this real
Playtime
quick.
was
Sorry, but I'm just
criticized for
gonna
being
install
too
this.
old-fashioned, so they
There we
wanted
go.
to create a more
There we go.
mischievous and free-spirited character. Candy Cat's tongue was the main selling point, as children could roll it up and place it back into its mouth, along with a hatch on her back that children could store their candy. It was in 1983 that we had our
Kick
very
me,
first
Paul.
big confirmed failure of a toy idea.
Kick me,
Notably,
Paul.
Kick me, Paul. I mean, look at this abomination.
It's literally, yeah, I would have not bought this. I would have bought it, but for literally just laying out my rage. I mean, for real, it would have been literally nothing but a pawn, okay? This thing, literally, if I would have bought this, literally its whole existence would be just as a rage pawn for me. I'm gonna put it on straight. I'm gonna be honest. It would have been a rage pawn for me. This is a place where I can actually lay out my rage. So yeah, Kick Me Paul would not have a good existence with me. Hate to say, Kick Me Paul would not have a good existence with me. Constantly used as a punching bag. I'm just saying. I'm being honest.
Drew a face on an orange and gave it arms and a hat. It had been intended that kids could hit or kick him, but Playtime recognized the stupidity of the design and rejected the toy, believing that it went against their brand values, mentioning how the toy was laughed out of the presentation and that, well, nobody liked them. Despite its rough reception the first time around, it was actually resubmitted for consideration. Jimmy Roth, the chief marketing officer.
Okay, let's see. Can we think of a better name than Paul? Add Y to the name. That's actually really funny. That's actually really funny.
That the sellability of the toy would be impacted more on its name rather than its appearance. Despite attempts at renaming the toy, it was once again denied, and Kick Me Paul would take its rightful place in a room later known as the rejection room. Within this same rejection room were many more toys that never made it to the full production line of Playtime, and while many do not have exact dates of creation, I feel that this would be a fitting time to show many others that joined Kick Me Paul in the rejection room. Let me introduce Sir Poops-a-Lot. This Garfield ripoff would be rejected due to its negative reaction by Playtime focus groups, who viewed the toy as disgusting. I mean, I can't say that I disagree. The designer for this toy would be fired, by the way. The design group at Playtime really just decided not to even try when Pet Stone became an idea. But despite the design team thinking that it was an ingenious and probably cheap idea, the focus group couldn't believe what they were seeing, believing it to be a joke on behalf of Playtime, thus causing it to be rejected. A little more...
I mean, it's a Pet Stone. I literally don't have to do nothing except actually not break it. Give me my money. That's an awesome pet in my opinion. I don't have to water it. I don't have to feed it. I don't even have to give it a proper home. Hell, it can live on the floor if I want to. If I really want to be a horrible pet rock owner, I can live it on the floor. Give me my money. Hell, I don't even have to do anything with it. I could literally just release it into the wild if I want to. Okay, I'm joking. Okay. I'm joking. Okay. Okay, I'm a very dark type joker, okay? Most things I say can be interpreted as sarcasm or dark jokes, okay? Everything that is considered fucked up in this stream is not considered a serious thing. It's considered a dark joke or sarcasm. Please do not take anything I say in this stream seriously.
Oh, in the oven. While this grumpy guy doesn't look all...
Really? It's a literal kid's oven. It's not even a fake oven. It's a literal oven. Who on earth thought this was a good idea? Seriously. Who on earth thought this was a good idea? Hell, I would have not bought that thing. Trust me, I am many things. An idiot isn't one of them. I am many things. I cannot use an oven. Trust me, I am many things. An idiot isn't one of them. Is not one of them. So, yeah, I think it deserves to be in the rejection room. It's a literal oven. Kids are many things, okay? Listen, we're not smart enough to use an oven, okay? There's a reason why the parents do that. Why the parents are responsible for the higher cook position. I mean, I'm at least old enough to actually use a microwave, you know what I'm saying? But an oven, yeah, my mom will not even let me go near that when she's cooking on the stove or oven. So, yeah, it deserves a place in a rejection room.
Their bed, for some reason Playtime decided to make this guy a fully operational oven.
God
full
damn
of
it.
temperatures of 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Ultimately, this resulted in children getting third-degree burns. I do not want to even imagine the lawsuits. Love Bug is a design found within the rejection room, and to be honest...
I mean, they genuinely deserve to be in the rejection room, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm surprised. The lawsuits, oh yeah, those were piling up for sure. Those were piling up after that horrible mistake of a toy, or rather, should I say, a literal oven, but that was a mistake. That oven should have never been created. I am. Created. Okay. Alright guys, I'm back, so where's the remote? Get some little bit of light in here. Light in here. Okay. I'm back. So we might as well just go to Sonic Speed Simulator segment of this video now. There's gonna be multiple Sonic Speed Simulator events this time, so yep, prepare. Roblox. So, I also got my cranberry juice, so yeah.